noches. That sounds better. And in true culture, hip-hop form, I'm going to ask folks to move a little more to the front. Don't be scared. We're not going to do anything to you. Don't be scared. We're not going to give you anything but good vibes tonight. Because that's what we're about. Good, revolutionary vibes. All right, y'all. So we're going to get the program started. We want to welcome you home. A lot of you have been here this year and have made amazing program in the space. So I want to start by asking you all to give yourselves a round of applause. Because the People's Forum could not be without every one of y'all. So thank y'all for coming through and making this dream a reality. So the comms team, and then we'll introduce ourselves, but the comms team made a really dope 60-second video, for those of us who have a short span, like me, that we will later share with folks on social media if you feel like you want to share it, because you might see people that you might see yourself in it too. So firstly, you want to do the honors? How many of you felt that? Man, I've been holding on to that for the last 5 days. I want to give a big shout out to the comms team. Frizzly, Belen, Bryant, Nelly who does AV. And I want to thank y'all again. My name is Claudia.
And I'm Chris with the education program.
He's Chris of the Chris. Y'all, we are excited. We are happy. We are overjoyed to have each and every one of you here. And I cannot stress how important it is for you all to be in a space like this and not only bringing your programming and bringing the struggles of the local communities, but being in community with each other. Because we do so many things in isolation, and this space is precisely for us to be able to build bridges, not only locally, but nationally and internationally. And there's so many folks in this space that put in so much energy, that pour so much love, that put so much sweat into making events happen. Every time someone says, we have a great idea. And every time we say, let's bring it on. And those folks are the TPF staff. We are a space of the working class, by the working class, and for the working class. And there are workers in this space that are committed to being able to build community, to advance the struggles of the poor and dispossessed nationally and internationally. And I want to call the TPF staff to come on stage and feel the good vibes and feel the love of their community. Don't make me go grab you. Come on stage. Reynaldo, stop hiding. Vincent, I'm gonna stop calling y'all like I'm in school. Belkis, Andy. All right, who's out? Who's missing? Reynaldo, Reza, Paulina, David, Juan, Reza. I'm gonna say your name again, Paulina. And there are folks who make your coffee every time you come in. Folks that bake the goods. And you know we can't socialize without the food. Right? And so every person standing on this stage is committed to every movement that comes into the space. And those, what up, Nalio? And those movements that have not yet come through the space. And it is our joy and pleasure to work with each and every one of you. More than 1,500 events in a year. More than 7,000 contacts, and I'm not talking about Instagram. I'm not a millennial though. We established I'm a G. I'm missing the O. So, again, from the bottom of our hearts, we want to thank the staff. There's a group of people that they're like the masterminds, like they meet, and they go from meeting to meeting and meeting, thinking through about like how to make this space better and advance it a little bit more every time. And we can't believe we have a year. It feels more like 10. And I want to call on the rest of the board members that are somewhere here in the space. Jody, stop hiding. Willie, where you at?
Come over here, Jody.
Willie. You'll hear from Willie the Baptist later on. He could preach. And there are so many other folks that should be on the stage, but we're ciphering now. It's like a circle. So even though you all are not on the stage, we are here. And we are thankful for this. And our desire is that we will continue to build, and that we will continue to bring folks, and we will continue to build bridges from the Patagonia to South Africa, because that's the type of freedom that we need. Do we need that freedom? Are we committed to that freedom? So we're going to work for that freedom. All right, y'all. Thank y'all. So without further ado, Chris, have some words.
Thank you, friends. I have 2 brief announcements to share with you all, though they are important announcements. First is that although he cannot be here tonight, we want to take a moment to celebrate and acknowledge our founding executive director, Manolo de los Santos. And as you all know, Manolo contributed an enormous amount to our successes in this first year. He's still part of our collective, but he has accepted an international assignment. He's based in South Africa now and traveling throughout the global south to carry on this mission of proletarian internationalism. So, viva Manolo. And in Manolo's place, I want to invite you all to join me in congratulating our own Claudia de la Cruz, who will be serving as our new executive director here at the People's Forum. That's right. And we are thrilled to have her taking on this role. Although she won't be alone, she will have a strong collective behind her as we build towards the future of the People's Forum with all of you here. We want to thank you so much. If you are on social media, we're using the hashtag TPF1year with one spelled out, O-N-E, 1 year. And next up, unless you have more, next up is Sierra Taylor and Kevin Kang to talk about our amazing member organizations here at the People's Forum. Sierra and Kevin.
What's up, y'all? How you doing? I got a couple of beers in me, so I'm feeling loose. You know. But we wanted to welcome you. My name is Kevin, and
I'm Sierra.
we're the membership team here at the People's Forum. You know, the funny thing is that I wasn't actually here the first day that we opened, but I was here when we first looked at the space. The space that you see in front of you was not what it was. It was just, kind of a still under construction. I need that away from me. But we had an ideal, right? We had a dream, a vision of building this space out. We've only been here for a year, but this project was years in the making. We thought about the space as a space where people from the working class can come here and to greet each other, to talk politics, to talk about the society that we want to build, right? We want to be a movement incubator. We want to think about what it means to build both the community, but also the relationships necessary in order to win the world that we want to win.
That's right.
So we think very, very critically about what it means to build a community here. We take upon the legacy of many, many spaces in New York City and around the world, where people can break bread, drink coffee, maybe have a couple of beers, right?
When we get our permit.
Yes, that's very, very true. But to talk with one another and relate with each other on a human level, it's just very, very important for us, especially these days when we're thinking about a world full of the internet and social media, just how important physical space is, right, in building a movement. And, we're very, very humbled by the reception that people have had about the space. We want to give an opportunity for people to, from our community, and we've built quite a community, right, to come up and speak to their experiences of using the space and being here and relating with us and relating with each other, right? But we want to give the opportunity, so.
Yeah, so like Kevin was saying, the question of community for us is a living question. It's something that's constantly evolving and is constantly being shaped by each interaction that we've had together in the space. So raise your hand if you're a part of a member organization at the People's Forum. Yeah. Raise your hand if you've been to an event here at the space. If you joined an education class here at the space. If you've just gotten some coffee and a scone and had great conversations at the space. If you rock with DJ KK in the space. The point is that yes, we've had over 1,500 events here at the People's Forum in our last year. And we've brought in 85 member organizations into the space here. All right, yeah, that's right. But the point is that every interaction
is what builds community and what builds the space here. It's not just about the staff, it's about you all. We need you all. You all are what makes the People's Forum. The People's Forum isn't just one or two folks, it's all of us engaging in community with one another. And so we would like to bring to the stage some folks that we feel like highlights the vision and the heart of the movements that we're bringing here together and the People's Forum in the working class community at large around the world.
Before I introduce the first person to come up to the stage, I just say that running a space is pretty hard. It is, especially for young people of color in the middle of Midtown, right, in the heart of financial capital.
That's right.
Right, to basically stick the finger at our enemies. But I just want to first say that the first person I want to introduce, it's a very, very interesting but also very inspiring story, because we expect these type of moments to happen on a daily basis, right? We literally came into contact with this group persons by them taking a cup of coffee and sitting in a cafe. Literally, right? And we want to be able to relate. And I think that's part of our spirit of building the People's Forum, right? People can come in, people can have a cup of coffee, people can relate with each other, talk politics, that also knowing that you're in a safe space, right? Where you can actually share and communicate your political vision for the world. But with that said, I want to invite Leanne, who works here at TPF, but also is going to share a letter on behalf of some of the people that are right now building the solidarity work for the Kashmiri resistance.
That's right.
Right? So.
We wish Hafsa could be here. Hafsa Kanjwal has really led a lot of the educational and mobilization efforts here at the People's Forum, but I'm going to read a message from her in her place. Just under a year ago, I was sitting in the audience at a conference that the People's Forum was hosting sometime in October. I remember looking around me at the beautiful space and the beautiful people and telling my partner, imagine if we had an event on Kashmir here. Almost a year later, the People's Forum has served as the hub for Kashmir solidarity in NYC. We have held a teach-in, a film screening, an iftar during Ramadan, an emergency meeting after the recent escalation of India's repression on August 5. All of the events have been packed, and the staff have been such incredible and kind hosts for us. This space has given us hope and introduced us to incredible allies. This space has raised Kashmir, which is an often overlooked or ignored issue amongst progressive communities. For that, we are incredibly grateful. We hope to continue building with you and to increase solidarity amongst our various movements. I am sorry I'm not able to be physically present to say all of this to you, but sending you all my love for the first year anniversary, and may you continue to grow and bring like-minded people who have a vision for a better world together. From the People's Forum, thanks to Hafsa.
Thank you. So our next speaker is, I would say, reflective of our values as a space. And that one of our values is that we are staunch proletarian internationalists, right? That we are not only interested in what happens in New York City, we're not just interested in what happens in the United States, but it is our duty to be in a relationship with and to exchange and to build solidarity and camaraderie with comrades from across the world. And with that, I want to give some space for Carla from the Landless Worker of the Movements from Brazil to come up and speak.
Thank you. Boa noite, camaradas. Eu vou tentar falar portunhol. E mi camarada Zoe me vai traduzir.
Okay, good evening, comrades. I'm going to try to speak in Portuñol, which is a mix of Spanish and Portuguese, and Zoe was going to translate.
Eu queria invitar-les a refletir sobre 3 coisas de por que estamos acá juntos e juntas.
So I wanted to invite you all to reflect on 3 things of why we're all here together tonight.
Primero, en estos tiempos de crisis de capital, de avance de las ideas reaccionarias, celebrar un año de People's Forum, podríamos decir que es desafiar las poderosas fuerzas de la clase dominante.
So first, today, in this time where the reactionary forces are advancing and the crisis of capital is strengthening, celebrating the one-year anniversary of the People's Forum is to challenge the strong and dominant ideas of the forces inside and outside of the United States.
Es desafiar la clase dominante de adentro y de afuera de los Estados Unidos.
So it's to challenge the dominant class within and outside of the United States.
Es luchar por nuestros sueños de justicia.
It is to fight for our dreams of justice.
Entonces, en este un año que celebramos acá, a mí me parece mucho más que ver con un bosque de árbol do que con este edificio literalmente.
So for me, celebrating this 1 year, it is a lot more to do with a forest of trees than this building itself.
Digo un bosque de árbol porque a mí me parece más con las cosas que vienen de abajo, con las cosas que son fuertes, con las cosas que tienen raíces.
So I say a forest of trees because that has a lot more to do with things that come from below, things that have roots.
Esto significa que estamos a hacer cosas con nuestras propias manos y que estas cosas crecen con una agua templada por el sudor de la gente que trabaja acá.
So this means that is something that we are building with our own hands, and it grows with the water of the sweat of the people that work here.
Es por eso que esta fiesta demarca una posición de que internacionalismo se hace acá.
And that is why this celebration marks the principle that the internationalism is made here.
El internacionalismo que acá se hace, se coloca en práctica, no solo se charla, se discursa.
So here, internationalism is not just a discourse or a speech, but it's really done. This is where internationalism happens.
Entonces reconocer que las raíces están en el pueblo, que el bosque son las personas, que las personas son hombres, mujeres, los niños, las niñas, la juventud. Esto es el internacionalismo que los trabajadores y las organizaciones de acá están haciendo en People's Forum.
So it's recognizing the roots and recognizing that the people are the trees in this forest, and that the trees are men and women and children and all of the people that are working here.
La segunda reflexión que quería invitarlos a pensar es una inspiración de Fidel Castro.
So the second reflection that I wanted to discuss is an inspiration from Fidel Castro.
Él nos dice que el internacionalismo es sin duda la creación más bella de los corazones y de la conciencia de los trabajadores.
Internationalism is without a doubt the most beautiful creation of the heart and the conscience of the workers.
Esto significa comprender que la diversidad de nosotros, que la diversidad cultural, que nuestras diferentes identidades no es algo para nos dividir, es algo para nos unificar.
So this is to understand that the diversity which defines us, the cultural diversity, social diversity, diversity of identities, is not something that should divide us, but should be something that brings us together in the struggle.
Entonces acá estamos en la casa de los trabajadores de Estados Unidos.
So here we are in the house of the workers of the United States.
Y la causa de los trabajadores de Estados Unidos, tuya causa, es mi causa.
And the cause of the workers in the United States, your cause is my cause.
Tuya causa es la causa de toda la humanidad,
Your cause is the cause of all of humanity.
de hombres y de mujeres de diferentes colores que aman y luchan por la libertad y por la justicia.
Men and women and people of all different colors who love profoundly and are fighting for justice and liberty of the human race.
Y por fin, la tercera reflexión.
And so finally, the last reflection,
Quería decir a todos, a cada uno y a cada una, pero en especial a People's Forum,
so first I want to say to every single person here, and especially to the people of the People's Forum,
que desde MST enviamos todo cariño y todo reconocimiento a ustedes.
that from the MST, we send our recognition and all of our care and love for the people here.
Y que el MST quiere agradecer muchísimo toda la solidaridad que recibimos en Brasil.
And the MST wants to thank for all of the solidarity that they receive for their work in Brazil.
Porque tenemos peleado juntos contra esta derecha conservadora,
Because we have to fight together against this right-wing conservative force.
en la campaña Free Lula,
And the campaign Free Lula,
por la defensa de Amazonía,
for the defense of the Amazon,
contra la criminalización de los movimientos sociales,
against the criminalization of the social movements,
incluso un recién mandato de desalojo de un centro de formación de MST que está marcado para mañana.
and including the recent order for the eviction of the Paulo Freire's training center, which is set for tomorrow.
Ya hay que decir, Paulo Freire vive y la lucha sigue.
We must say that Paulo Freire lives and the struggle continues.
Y también hay que decir que la gente que acá toma posición,
And I have to say that the people here take a side.
porque la gente de acá de People's Forum se posiciona por la soberanía de Venezuela,
Because the people here from the People's Forum take a side and are in favor of the sovereignty of Venezuela,
por la soberanía cubana,
for the sovereignty of Cuba,
por la soberanía palestina.
for the sovereignty of Palestine.
Entonces, tener una posición en favor de la lucha de los pueblos es algo revolucionario.
So to have a position in favor of the struggle of the people is something that's revolutionary.
Y a vosotros gustaría decir que esperamos que las semillas de este montón de árbol que están a hacer en los campos de Estados Unidos
And we want to say that we hope that all of these seeds from the trees that are in the countryside and the cities of the United States
puedan crear más espacios como este,
can create more spaces like this one,
que ayuden las organizaciones a hacer más formación política,
that help the organizations carry out more political education,
a hacer arte, a hacer comunicación, a hacer cultura con el pueblo.
to do art, to do communication, and do cultural activities with the people.
Y miren una cosa, serán muchos años para educar, para crear conciencia, para cultivar un sentimiento generoso de internacionalismo.
And it takes many years to cultivate and to build this sense of internationalism and to educate people.
Y estas son las fuerzas vitales para que el pueblo de acá resista.
And these are the vital forces so that the people here will resist.
Viva People's Forum, viva la lucha de los pueblos.
Long live People's Forum, long live the struggle of the people.
Thank you.
People's Forum know that while what we are doing here together is very exciting, this is not the first time that something like this has been done. This is not the first time that people in struggle have come together, have united forces to fight against our common oppressor. We understand that we come from a long line of revolutionaries. We come from a legacy of resistance. We understand that if it was not for revolutionaries like those of the League of Revolutionary Black Workers in Detroit, like the Communist Workers' Party in Greensboro, without the homeless union organizing that has taken place all over this country, we understand that if it was not for those movements, we would not be here. And so, just like the next speaker that we would love to introduce to the stage, we understand that if it were not for internationalist solidarity movements, if it were not for our OGs, and let's not get it twisted, OGs does not just mean that you're old. When we're talking about OGs, we're talking about people who committed their lives to struggle and who have an analysis of what that struggle is and who fights every day to bring young people and new people, people like us, into that long line of revolutionary legacy. And so without further ado, I would love to invite Frankie Valagata to the stage. From day one, first of all, I heard about Frankie through Claudia and through Manolo, two people who are my brother and sister and who shaped me and who shaped this work so much. We know that without Frankie and without revolutionaries from the Puerto Rican independence movements, without the New York City Jericho movement that remembers our people who are still locked up for resisting this exploitative bullshit system, if it were not for folks like you, we would not be here. So thank you, and I'm gonna get off the fucking stage.
¡Viva la resistencia! Long live the resistance! Long live the international working class! I'm a little bit surprised, and I apologize for being late. Those of you who take mass transit, like most working class people in this city, know what that is. I always begin when I speak publicly, the last 50 years or so, by honoring the two guerrilla women who made it possible for me to become who I am. And that's my mother, Gregoria Vergara Valentin, and my grandmother, Doña Amparo Pino Melendez, who was a militant of the Nationalist Party of Puerto Rico, organizing the women toiling, picking tobacco in the fields of Puerto Rico. And my presence here to the Lower East Side at 5 years old was a result of President Truman ordering the liquidation of the Nationalist Party of Puerto Rico. So my family, like many families before them in the 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s, came here so that they could keep organizing here in our community instead of ending up dead or in prison. I want to share with you briefly that it has been a source of pride and humility for me to have the privilege of supporting this effort and of doing whatever has been in my reach, not only now but in the future, to support this free space. this free space, for many of the movements you've heard already, has been a source of hope. And that's a word we don't use lightly or very often. It's been a source of hope. And for us, the older generation, it's been particularly important because, and I've said this most of my political life, when the state doesn't get you, when the NYPD doesn't get you, when the FBI doesn't get you, in the end, nature. Nature takes care of you, and if we don't prepare the way, and if we don't share the experiences that we have, and if we lose sight of the fact that revolutionaries are not just teachers, but we're students, and it doesn't matter what age we get to, we can never forget that we were never born into this movement, that we had people before us whose sacrifices and whose continuity were an inspiration to us, and that we still have a lot to learn. August of this year, I turned 70 years old. Okay? And 70 years young, I've said to my children, some of whom are in their late 30s or early 40s, that I have lived a privileged existence, and I will leave you with that. And that privilege has been to contribute to my community, my people, and my class, and to learn how to figure out ways in which I could contribute and keep contributing and keep learning. And that's enriched my life in so many ways that I wouldn't take up your time going into it.
You should talk to him, though.
Finally, 3.5 years ago, some of us in New York saw a generation in Puerto Rico of freedom fighters emerge. When the Obama administration established a fiscal control board over the people and institutions of Puerto Rico, the legislature, the cultural institutions, the economic institutions, the dismantling of the university system in Puerto Rico, their first meeting at the Condado Hilton in San Juan met with a response. Thousands of people emerged. They confronted the tactical police force in Puerto Rico. They confronted the local police. They threw rocks. They threw water bottles. They shut down that first meeting of the Wall Street profiteers that were trying to meet in San Juan. And some of us said hallelujah, because look at all those young people, fearless young people that were hitting the streets. We even heard a few whispers from the older timers, oh my God, they're really taking it too far. They're throwing rocks at the police. And some of us said, hallelujah, these are the people we have to support. Okay? With our money, with our political space, taking them here, bringing them there, taking them to meet with other Puerto Ricans and progressive organizations, meeting with the people from Jericho. And of course, the minute, even before the minute that the People's Forum opened, we knew this was our home. Que viva Puerto Rico libre y socialista. Que viva the People's Forum. Thank you.
All right, we got a couple more. Just two more. It's my honor to present a sister comrade, part of the same campaign that I'm part of, the Poor People's Campaign. Call for more revival. I just gotta share a very, very funny story. You know, we relaunched the campaign last year, and actually many people that work at the People's Forum are leaders in the campaign. We are organizers in the campaign. This is part of our mass work. of uniting the 140 million poor people in this country, poor and low income. And we do a lot of singing in the Poor People's Campaign. I'm not gonna sing right now, but you know, we'll do it later. We'll do a little bit later. But I think the one thing that I want to share is at the People's Forum, we're not only staunch supporters of the Poor People's Campaign, but also we acknowledge the role, the very, very strategic role of culture in building movements, right? We need a pro-people's culture. And we need to build it together. And with that said, I want to introduce Sharon Rebar, who will talk on that and the Poor People's Campaign.
Thank you, and I'm really humbled to be here with all of you building this movement together. As Kevin mentioned, I'm representing the Poor People's Campaign here in New York City, but so many of us in this room are part of this campaign. And, you know, we're part of the launch of the campaign last year before these doors opened. So many of the staff, so many of the members here helped to really ignite the 40 days of Moral Fusion Direct Action that took place both here in New York State and around the country to build the unity of the poor and dispossessed in this country and around the world. Right, to build a unity that can break the divisions that too often keep us from organizing together, that keep us from being able to face the powers that continue to divide us, right? To be able to connect us across race, across geography, across all our issues, across age. I'm so glad to have the representation of age that's in this space and that comes before me to stand on those shoulders. But we know that that unity is absolutely essential. And so one quick thing that I wanted to do is I had an image here that was gifted by the New York State Steering Committee that I want to give to folks here at the People's Forum. And it is a thank you for participating in the continual building of this movement. So I'm going to give this to Kevin. And you know, as I said, launching this campaign, we got to launch a campaign in that 40 days from May until June, and then walk into this space as we opened the doors here at the People's Forum and really have a home here in New York City. And really running the gamut, you know, of the things that we've been able to do because of this space, you know, from political education sessions to art builds to members meetings to launching an inter-movement music space, the Songs in the Key of Resistance, woo, woo, where we're able to, through the music, through our culture, be able to connect to one another and deepen our commitments to this work and prepare ourselves to be able to go out there in the middle of this space in Midtown Manhattan and to say, this is our city, this is our country, this is our world, it's the people's space, right? And so that I'm so grateful to have this home for this work. And as a cultural organizer and artist, I think a lot about space. And I think Kevin mentioned this earlier of how important it is to have space. A space that we can claim, that we can sharpen our clarity together, that we can build our unity together, that we can deepen our commitments to one another, that we can ignite our imagination. That is what this space represents. And we have to fight for this space. We have to fight for this space. And as Carla said, this space isn't just these walls, right? But it's this movement that we're building across the world. And the internationalism that is present here and represented, being able to have leaders come here and meet people from all over the country and all over the world, how vital that is, because it doesn't happen every day. And so I just want to thank folks here at the People's Forum for being that incubator and being a place where we can continue to build the new and unsettling force. The new and unsettling force. because we know we have nothing to lose but our chains. Yeah, so thank you.
That's my sister comrade right there. I love that woman. From our inception at the People's Forum, we knew that youth have to be at the heart of the community that we're building. Many of the people here who helped bring the vision of the People's Forum to life came into movement, came into organizing as young people, whether like through battles for immigration, women's rights, fighting against the Iraq War. Many of us were brought into this struggle as teenagers. And many folks like to say, youth are their future. You know, you hear that a lot. Youth are the future. Fuck that. Youth are the leaders that we need now. And like the National Homeless Union says, the youth aren't in the way, they are the way. And so I would like to introduce Marcus Friedman of Anakbayan, who is representing the Youth Justice Summit from the People's Forum here.
Hello, my name is Marcus, and I'm a member of Anakbayan, New York. I came into the People's Forum community through participating in the Youth Justice Summit that was organized by New York City high school students like Imora, Darius, Zabuda, and Ellie, our teachers and organizers from community who care about us. The Youth Justice Summit was an amazing and truly inspiring to meet so many people my age asking the same questions I have and wanting to take action like I do. Like, why do our parents work multiple jobs? Why do our schools arm themselves with cops and search us morning for out of fear? Questions that we didn't even realize that we were all curious about. Where was I? Some answers that we didn't know that we're all impacted by, like why are so many black and brown people incarcerated? How we live in the richest country in the world and yet some of us go to school hungry. Don't have a home to go back to when his class is over, or don't have proper textbooks or counselors at our own schools. So why are we the ones who are forced to deal with the consequences of a system run by greedy billionaires that are literally destroying our world to turn a profit? During the summit, I was able to share about about life in my home country, the Philippines, and why my country's conditions of poverty force on the people because of foreign countries' involvement, like America. Over 30,000 killings have been made since 2016 because of a war on drugs declared by our Filipino president and funded by US taxes. A war on drugs similar to the war on drugs in America during the 80s that targeted so many black and brown people. It made me think and question all about why are we living in the US in the first place? Why conditions exist in our homelands that force us to migrate, then to be told turn back around or go back to where we came from as if we were the ones being forced to come back of America's involvement in our countries. Countries like the Philippines, Guam, Mexico, Puerto Rico, Cuba, Venezuela, and parts of Africa, all colonized and robbed and wronged in some way by the US. It's clear that it's not just Trump or Bezos or DeVos, it's an entire system that we have to dismantle. And so we know that it will take an entire community and struggle to destroy this thing. The Youth Justice Summit brought together students from middle and high schools in every borough, yes, Long Island included. We even had people from Hudson Valley, New Jersey, and Yonkers come out. Teachers from organizations like Black Lives Matter Educators, New York Core, UFT More, and so many others. We co-developed and co-facilitated sessions with organizations like DSA, Afro Socialist, Poetic Theater Productions, Affirm, New York City, New Jails, Liberation Drums, TechActivist.org, and Vibe Theater on topics related to mass incarceration, imperialism, reproductive and gender justice, technology, revolutionary art, and mental health. The Youth Justice Summit was important because it brought together youth and people who care about us to engage in deep conversations rooting in understanding that while we may not all experience oppression the same, our liberation is dependent on one another. Yes. The summit brought us into relationship with one another so that we can plug into local, political, and revolutionary actions in a meaningful way. It allowed us to create and distribute resources for young people to curiously, critically, actively examine how our day-to-day experience and stresses are connected to broader systematic injustice. Most importantly, we are able to share visionary models of organizing and community that lead us to getting involved in specific movements, like Anak Bayan, that give us hope and agency for creating a more just collective future. Because to be a revolutionary, hope is not naive, it is necessary. Because we know that revolution is not only possible, but mandatory in our lifetime. We are the generation in the most pivotal point of all world history. Because we will be the generation to finish what so many of our ancestors have died for. We will be the spark in a fire that will be hotter than our Amazons burning. Because the people united will never be defeated, will never be defeated. Are the people united? One more time. The people united will never be defeated, will never be defeated. Are the people united? Will never be defeated. And one more chant that will strike fear into our oppressors' hearts. In our lifetime. In our lifetime. In our lifetime. We will be the ones to do it in our lifetime. I'm sure of it because the fate of our world depends on it. Thank you.
All right. And then finally, I understand, and we literally did not incorporate this in our programming, but we have some comrades from Ecuador who will come up. Understand that they have a gift and a couple of words for us.
Quiero hablar en la lengua de mis raíces. I need a translation, please. Voy a ser corto. Quiero hablar, le dije, en la lengua de mi raíz. Hablo el inglés no tan fluido y quiero más bien me entienda mejor.
So I want to be brief, but I want to speak in my native tongue, the tongue of my roots.
Nos sentimos muy felices de estar participando el primer año aquí.
We are
The People's Forum.
very happy to be participating in the People's Forum during its first
Aquí
year.
respiro libertad.
Here I breathe freedom.
Aquí podemos expresar nuestras ideas con libertad.
Here we can express our ideas with freedom.
Sí, estamos tristes. Hace 2 días recordábamos la muerte de un gran hombre latinoamericano, Salvador Allende, de Chile.
Yes, we are saddened because 2 days ago we were reminded and remembering the killing of one of our heroes in Latin America, Salvador Allende.
Hace 10 años atrás, perdón, 12, no, recuerdo, en el 1999 llegué a este país.
I remember that in 1999 I came to this country.
Con el traje dividí mi familia. Salimos 3 millones de ecuatorianos a diferentes partes del mundo.
Our family was divided. There were 3 million
En nuestro
Ecuadorians that left Ecuador during that time.
Soy el más joven de los que están acá.
I'm probably the youngest person of the folks that are here.
Recuerdo, dividí mi país, mi familia, porque mi país, como siempre, estuvo dominado por las clases económicas.
My family was divided mainly because the country that I came
Y
from,
recuerdo
Ecuador,
desde-
was controlled by the dominant class. Hermano, cójame suave que ya yo estoy viejita. Usted es el más joven y yo soy el más viejo.
Somos parte desde el 2000, de una década latinoamericana de sueños, de cumplir sueños.
We are part of a decade of Latin America building and weaving dreams.
Recordamos a Hugo Chávez.
We remember Hugo Chavez.
Recordamos a Fidel Castro.
We remember Fidel
A
Castro.
Evo Morales.
We remember Evo
A
Morales.
Pepe Mujica.
We remember Pepe Mujica.
A Lula.
Lula.
Y entre ellos recordamos a Rafael Correa en mi
And
país.
amongst them, we also remember Rafael Correa from my country.
Manuel
Zelaya,
Zelaya.
from Honduras.
Por eso el día de hoy quisimos estar acá.
Be-
Para saludar a la mente progresista que en los Estados Unidos, en el corazón mismo de Estados Unidos y quizás hasta del mundo,
And due to that, we wanted to be here amongst the conscious people of the United States to remember together.
queríamos estar con la felicidad con ustedes, hermanos revolucionarios.
We wanted to join in the celebration with our brothers and sisters, revolutionaries.
Estoy acompañado de un gran hombre, un compañero aquí, revolucionario, el compañero Freddy García,
I'm with my comrade Freddy Garcia,
vicepresidente de
vice
nuestra
president
organización,
of our organization,
coordinadora migrante Eloy Alfaro.
Migrant Coordination, Alo Alfaro.
En manos del compañero se encuentra el viejo luchador, le decimos en mi país.
In his hands is the old fighter, as we call them in our country.
Por tener ideas progresistas que vamos a dejar que lo exprese el compañero,
With progressive
el compañero
ideas
García,
that I will let my comrade
Él-
share a little bit on.
fue encarcelado y quemado.
He
Por
was,
mí, yo quiero decir, viva People's Forum. Gracias a ustedes y dejo aquí al compañero García para que exprese él y haga la entrega de este documento de mi patria.
Long live People Forum, pero permiso con el discurso. He mentioned that this comrade was a political prisoner.
Yeah, it was yeah.
Déjelo.
Tengo una traducción. Tengo
De-
una traducción
dile.
contigo. Sale más sensual tu voz que la mía.
Oiga, hermano, quizás más inteligente,
It's more sensual.
pero
No.
hablemos
Okay.
de otro tono.
Bueno, él fue un hombre que... No, but you have made the translation.
I'm going to translate, but go ahead.
Okay. Fue un hombre a finales del siglo XIX.
He was a brother from the left, a comrade from the left,
una
around the end of the 19th century.
Una transformación en Sudamérica
He suffered a transformation in South America.
de las más progresistas que puede haber habido en la historia.
One of the most progressive that couldn't happen in history.
Y desde esa época, y mucho antes, nuestros pueblos han sufrido el peso fuerte de la oligarquía, de la mediática,
And for a long time, since then, our country has suffered the pressure and the tensions of the oligarchy.
Entonces, era un hombre que por su trabajo, por su labor que hizo,
This man,
Fue-
due to his work, the work that he did,
fue asesinado.
he was assassinated.
Ya, sin un juicio, sin previo juicio, fue encarcelado,
He was incarcerated.
lo mataron, lo cortaron en pedazos, lo quemaron y lo arrastraron por toda la ciudad de
He
Quito,
was,
la capital.
he was incarcerated, burned, and cut into pieces and spread throughout Quito, Ecuador. ¿Cómo se llamaba el compañero?
Eloy Alfaro. Ese es el nombre de nuestro movimiento.
And his name was
La
Eloy
coordinadora
Alfaro,
Migrante Eloy Alfaro.
who we have the name after.
Un amigo, buen amigo de José Martí.
He was José Martí's friend,
Ya, un tipo internacionalista que estuvo
internationalist,
en los movimientos de dependencia de Cuba.
and he was also in support of the independence of Cuba.
Fue parte importante de ese movimiento
He was
independentista.
he
de
was
Cuba.
very integral part of the anti-colonization
Entonces,
movements of that moment in history.
Hacemos una entrega.
So we want to give this gift to our comrades.
Hacemos una entrega. Hacemos una entrega de este cuadro.
We want to give this frame,
Una-
this
Y
picture.
una frase de él. En la demora está El peligro.
with one of the phrases that he once said, which is
Y esto está actual.
in the waiting,
Así que nuestra acción es ya.
in the delay, that's
We
where
have to act right away.
in the delay, that's where the danger lies. Gracias, compañeros.
Ya.
Muchas gracias.
Gracias.
All right, folks. We're getting close to the end. Just hang on for a couple of minutes before we get to the dancing piece. But we want to thank our comrades for that. So another round of applause for our comrades. Can I have the mic? Give it to Jody. Jody, Anne Marie. You get 2 mics.
All right. This has been an incredible year. I'm just remembering a year ago and how vibrant it feels. But I want to say I remember it from 2 years ago when it was a hole that we walked in with no light and just cement. And I want to bring up Karen Ranucci, who spent a year creating this space so then we could all create it into what it is. So Karen Ranucci, thank you so much. I mean, she was in here with her hard hat, you know, making sure the walls went up and that we had a space.
Yeah,
If
definitely.
if anybody's missing their earphones, they're here.
It's been an incredible year to see this space grow. And it wouldn't be made possible without the staff who we thanked earlier and all of you for being here tonight. So we're here to shift gears a little bit in our program and talk about what it would take to make this place really sustainable.
So there's so many ways you can participate. This year was to figure out what does it look like, how do we serve a community, how do we make it happen? But we need you to engage more deeply. Like you saw the amazing youth, you have youth in your life. Invite them to the Youth Justice Summit. The market is amazing. It supports people across the city. Talk about the market, share it with friends, outreach to events. Attend the classes above. Attending those classes makes you a better militant. It makes you smarter so that you can go up against the machine. Be at the classes. Bring your friends to the classes. We need to support each other and enrich what is already happening here. There's so many ways you can do it. You can volunteer. You can outreach for all the events. We even created some amazing swag that you can buy. And tonight, the team is passing out these cards. Don't leave without thinking about what do you want to do to help create this space sustainably. You can be a monthly donor. You can, volunteer your time, but you can outreach for events. So make sure you get a card, make a commitment, be inspired by the stories you heard tonight. What's happening here is amazing. Let's continue to make it happen.
Thank you, everyone. Please be sure to grab one of these cards from one of our staff members. They show all the different ways that you can support. And be sure to check out our merchandise table. I'll also be in the back gathering donations because we really need people power to make this place sustainable. So thank you all.
When I say people, you say power. People, power. People, power. People, power. When I say we want, you say freedom. We want, freedom. We want, freedom. We want. Freedom. All right, y'all are still awake. Y'all better just chill with me for a little bit because there's a salsa band that's coming up. And I don't know about you. I like salsa, and I'm not talking about my chips. I want to make an acknowledgement before we do the formal closing. Y'all are laughing, right? Contract me for jokes, too. So I wanna make an acknowledgement of some of the folks that are in the space, just because we're talking about the roots, we're talking about the legacy, we're talking about the revolutionary processes that brought us here, and it's only right to say that the People's Forum is part of a legacy of folks that have been building space in New York to be able to convene, to be able to bring together, to be able to continue doing this work. And so I want to acknowledge the presence of Nieves Aires from Chile. 30 years ago, she created something called La Peña del Bronx with Victor Toro, ex-political prisoners, and folks that are very integral to the formation of a lot of the folks that are part of this process. I want to acknowledge David Harvey, who's a public intellectual, who has contributed to movements all throughout the world, and who has been in the space not only talking about Marxism, but in a very accessible way. And so we love you, David Harvey. And he also donated his library to the People's Forum so that it could be accessible to the next generation of folks that want to understand the theory behind the practice. We want to acknowledge Joana Fernandez, who's in the house, who's also been an educator in the space, one of the folks that has been key to the movement to free. All right, I'm going to take that back. To bring Mumia home, because Mumia is free. His mind is freer than many of the folks that are outside of those walls. Thank you, Joanna. We want to acknowledge Ross Marsh, who has brought into the space jazz and its resistance history. And we want to thank y'all for that. The Honduran resistance. Karen Renucci was mentioned before. We want to mention her again. She was part of the development of this space. And so many of you that if we were to continue to name folks, we will never end this program. We're going to give a shout out to the Answer Coalition that is also in the house, and they've been coming into the space hard for Venezuela, for Cuba, against the war, against imperialism, and have been developing amazing program. So without further ado, I want to call the Willie, who also happens to have the last name of a church. He's Baptist. And he's one of the OGs that Ciara was talking about, in a way which we're talking about politically aligned folks that are able to pass on knowledge that comes from an experience and a practice that makes sense in advancing the struggles of our people. So, Willie, the Baptist.
Hello, everybody. I was asked to close it out in 3 minutes. With a name like Baptist Church, I'm going to attempt a minor miracle. I'm going to be very short. This is a very important acknowledgement of a year that's been very eventful and productive. There's powers that be who do not want this type of grouping to come together. People hear me? They want us to be at each other's throats, not finding ways that we can come together and develop a movement to which everybody has to reckon with, including the powers that be. People hear me? I'd like again thank all the staff for all the work they've done. I'd like to thank the member organizations that have been very supportive of this effort. I'd like to thank all our donors and our supporters that we've had. I'd like for us to appreciate the fact that that is a way in which you contribute to something very important. We are dealing with people's lives and the lives of our children. This is serious business. We set up this People's Forum for purposes of building a movement that can turn this country around. Huh? We are not here to play. We're here to learn from each other. This is the only space, or very few spaces here in New York City, where people from different parts of the city, from different bureaus, can come together and meet each other, learn from each other, and coordinate their activities. We are going to have to fight for this process. The powers that be in this country, who are located in this city, in terms of one of their key headquarters, Wall Street, we exist right in the shadow of Wall Street. They are no joke, huh? They don't give two shits about you, huh? And any effort to establish some independent position from them, they're going to attack us. And I'm closing this out on the basis that if we do not come together to fight for this space ain't going to exist. Huh? People hear me? August 11th, 1965, I was 17 years old, living in South Central LA in Watts, when it erupted. Some 65,000 to 100,000 people hit the streets in violent protest against the inhumane conditions that existed in the ghetto. I'm not talking about the upper class black communities like Baldwin Hills or something like that. I'm talking about the community where people ain't got nothing. Huh? They erupted because of the conditions that exist within those areas of Watts was inhumane and insane. And the kind of relationship that the police was having with that community in terms of the rape of women, children, the killing of youth, point blank range was happening in Watts, California, and many of the ghettos throughout the country. That ignited a whole period of uprising that took place throughout the country. Some 306 cities in this country erupted. People hear me? In the ghettos, in violent protests against these inhumane conditions. We are living at a time where those conditions not only exist within the black ghettos, they are getting worse within the black ghettos, but also they are happening in poor white communities and poor Latino communities and all the other communities that are suffering from impoverishment and oppression. So we're living in times that are very explosive. You hear me? These are going to be very difficult and dangerous times, but also times of opportunities where people are waking up and want to hear from people who know what's going on so that they can unite to make this a better life for them and their children. Can I get an amen on that one? Watts, the spirit of Watts is here with us, you guys. And it's not just in this country, and it's not just in the black communities, it's all over the world. As you have heard before me, speakers and leaders from other countries here that have visited People's Forum have used this as a forum to speak to others about their experience. This is a very unique and very important place that we want to fight for, and it's not going to exist forever. There's going to be efforts to bring this thing down. Huh? And those of us who appreciate the necessity for us coming together and learning from each other and working with each other and fighting with each other, we have to understand what we're up against in order to fight this, to keep this kind of space and other spaces going. One thing I want to leave you on is that this space is a product of struggle, is a product of people who come out of the homeless struggle, the struggle for health care, the immigrant struggles, the struggles against police brutality. We have brothers and sisters here who was on the streets of Ferguson. The Popular Education Project was formed, realizing that we need to talk in terms of education. We need to elevate ourselves, and that we can't outfight our enemy unless we outsmart them. We need political education. This is what this space is all about. We want to keep it about that, okay? So I want to have people to appreciate that this is a product of struggle, and if it's going to stay in existence, we have to continue to struggle. Yes. So I'm going to leave you with that idea of what this particular space represents in terms of being a product of struggle, and a struggle that has to continue in order for us to continue to exist. I want to thank all you guys for being here and coming and supporting us. I want to thank you for listening to me and hearing me out. And I want you to have a great time. We're going to have some music. We're going to do some dancing, right? We're going to have some good time here. This is what the People's Forum is all about. It's about family, y'all, and you don't fuck with family. Huh? Huh? A song? Oh, man. Come on, you sing.
So thank you, Shanti, for reminding us of who we are. Political education and culture is at the heart of our movement. And so we'll close out with this song. It comes from Fire Rose Touré. I'm going to ask my sister Sharon to sing it with me. And I'm going to need your help because we can't do this alone. So repeat after me. I'm going to lift my sister up. She's not heavy. I'm going to lift my sister up. She's not heavy. I'm going to lift my sister up. She's not heavy. And if I don't lift her up, we will fall down. So I want you all to sing this song with your people in mind, with our people in mind. Ready? I'm gonna lift my sister up. She's not heavy. I'm gonna lift my sister up. She's not heavy. I'm gonna lift my sister up. You can clap. I'm gonna lift my sister up. She's not heavy.
But you have to clap on the right beat.
If I don't lift her up, if I don't lift her up, if I don't lift her up, we will fall down. All right, so that was our first go around. All right, you ready? So let's do our siblings up because we know that some folks don't fuck with gender, and we like those kind of people. So we're gonna lift our siblings up, and let's participate. We need all of us. Let's lift each other up. All right?
Bring it in a little.
Yeah, you can just come in. I feel a little lonely and weird.
It's true.
I'm usually weird, but I hate being lonely.
Yeah. Break it out. Turn it up.
Well, this just lifted things to a different level real quick. Welcome to the People's Forum. All right, so we're gonna do I'm gonna lift our siblings up. How about we're gonna lift our siblings up? You wanna do that? All right, you ready? We're gonna lift our siblings up. They're not heavy. Come on. We're gonna lift our siblings up. They're not heavy. We're gonna lift our siblings. We're gonna lift our siblings up. They're not heavy. If we don't lift them up, if we don't lift That's the first time anything like that's happened to me, and it was fucking awesome. So thank you all for being here for that, and real talk, thank you all for being with us over this last year. It has been a wild ride. It has been a fun ride, and it has been a ride full of love. And we're looking forward to continuing to build this project with you all. So thank you.
Are you guys having a good time today or what? Let's give it up for all these speakers today. Let's give it up one more time for all these speakers. Congratulations to the People's Forum for their 1-year anniversary. But now the party just started. Are you guys ready to dance? Are you sure? I don't hear you guys. I know Violeta's in the crowd somewhere. She wants to dance. So this is Johnny Mambo and Friends. And we're going to get this party started this way. You guys are ready? Are you guys ready?
Camina, ¿cómo? En los años 1600, cuando el tirano mandó, la calle de Cartagena, aquella historia vivió, cuando aquí llegaban esos sonereros africanos en cadenas, besaban mi tierra, esclavitud perpetua, esclavitud perpetua, esclavitud perpetua, anda. Ahí nada más, sí. Ah, la, la, le. Así se goza. Un matrimonio africano, esclavo de un español, él le daba muy mal trato y a su negra le pegó. Cuando aquí llegaban esos nereros africanos en cadenas, besaban mi tierra, no le pegué a mi negra, no le pegué a la negra, no le pegué a la negra. Oye, men, no le pegué a la negra, ya la fiesta ha comenzado, Don Sonero vino aquí a cantar, la gente mira, todavía está esperando para bailar. Yo he llegado